Early hours of June 13th, 2022, a husband would be shot dead 16 times after catching his wife having sex with another man. At 3 a.m., police received a desperate 911 call about multiple gunshots inside a home. When they arrived, the scene was nothing short of horrifying. They found the lifeless body of a husband riddled with bullets. What made it even more chilling was that it had all happened in the presence of his wife. As investigators searched for answers, a horrifying truth emerged. The killer was none other than the man his wife had been caught with. But the terror didn't end there. Shockingly, this wasn't the first attempt on his life that night. Just moments earlier, he had narrowly escaped death. But this time, there would be no place to hide. This is the life and death of Tyree Richardson.
Damn, bro, what you signed a deal or something today, bro?
QC, you dirty, man.
You said QC?
QC, you dirty.
That's all right there.
20-year-old Tyree Tashawn Richardson was born into a close-knit family. His mother, Lindsay, and father, Roger Richardson, described him as charismatic and funny. He was deeply loved, not only by them, but by his entire community. His parents always knew he carried a special presence, a magnetic personality that drew people in. But it wasn't until after his death that they fully realized how many lives he had truly touched. Despite being only 20, Tyree already carried the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He was a father to a young son named Cody, and that role meant everything to him. His parents described him as someone who was willing to fix his past mistakes, to work harder, and to grow as a man so that he could unite his small family and give his child a better life. Tyree was a rising rapper who went by the name FSO Gunk, known for dropping several successful albums that earned him recognition in his community.
Some niggas change. When I get rich, we won't buy me some change. Shit fucked up and the same.
But music wasn't his only passion. Tyree was also a businessman. He was the proud owner of a food truck called D-Spot 4301 and a successful dog breeder. In one of his videos, Tyree spoke with excitement about his plans.
Bro, it's spanking, dude.
Give me a month or two, man. This motherfucker will be up and running. I want y'all support. Man, black businesses need to support each other a little more. In the community, we're going to be all over PG. I just want to inspire the youth and do something a little different for the community. But we'll be serving everything, breakfast, lunch, dinner, everything.
Unlike many young men who shy away from responsibility, Tyree leaned into it, checking in on his son, asking questions about his well-being, and making plans for his future. Those close to him emphasized that he cared about his family deeply, but Tyree wasn't perfect. He had made mistakes, like many young men his age, but he carried a determination to do better. His father explained that Tyree's love for his family often guided his choices, saying he wasn't the type to walk away from those he loved, even when times got difficult. At the time of his death, Tyree was navigating the complicated reality of young adulthood, balancing his responsibilities as a father, his relationship struggles, and the dream of building something better. According to his family, he was making efforts to improve, not just for himself, but for his son, who depended on him. But it was during his high school years that Tyree crossed paths with a young woman, someone who would change his life in ways no one could have ever predicted. Tyree met Autumn Anderson, who would later become the mother of his child. The two quickly fell for each other, sharing countless memories and, at least on the surface, a strong love. Autumn often claimed she loved him, especially when life was going smoothly between them. But soon, that love would be tested. On April 26, 2020, on Tyree's birthday, after a night of partying, someone tried to ambush him as he returned home. Multiple gunshots were fired at him, but Tyree managed to escape with his life. The incident left more questions than answers. No one knew his exact location that night, except for two people, his girlfriend and one close friend. So how did someone show up out of nowhere, armed and ready to kill him? Tyree grew suspicious of Autumn, but at the time, he chose to let it go. Later, Autumn described how she had gone all out to make his birthday special, arranging an in-home massage, cooking brunch, and even surprising him with gifts.
So April 26th was Tyree's birthday. And for Tyree's birthday, I had got somebody to come in, do an at-home massage for him. I had cooked brunch. I had went out. I had got him gifts. We had went out to dinner with his family, and then we went to the club.
Autumn explained that when she, Tyree, and some friends went to the club, on their way back, she and another female were having a conversation that drifted in and out.
She came, Tyree's brother had came, and Tyree's brother's friends had came. So mind you, like, she drunk. She ends up throwing up outside the club. She literally, like, has the door open outside the black truck, like, with her head out, like she bent, like she twisted.
Wait. It's not over, Monty. Come on, Monty. We about to go to the car.
Wait, bitch, you gotta throw up some more. Come on, hurry up. Get that shit.
Me and this girl, we had fell out a couple months before this. We didn't start hanging out with each other up until March, right before I went to Miami to get my surgery.
But then, when they arrived at a parking spot, something chilling would happen. When Tyree finally pulled into their neighborhood, he backed into a parking spot. Still talking, still tipsy, everything seemed fine. Instead of heading inside, Tyree stepped out of the car, leaned against the trunk, and started rolling up a blunt. It was routine. He wasn't leaving them behind, just taking a moment.
So when he pulls into the parking spot, he put the car in park, he started rolling up a J. He never was going into the house. He never was like leaving us in the car or nothing like that. He was getting out to hit his J.
Then suddenly, without warning, everything changed. In a blur of motion, Tyree took off running. Another figure, fast and shadowy, tore past the car in pursuit. A neighbor's security camera would capture the moment.
I jumped in the driver's seat. I put the car in drive, and I started driving in the direction where Tyree ran. Now, mind you, it was not as quick as, like, he started running. The dude, I seen another fast motion start running after him, and it was kind of like a click kind of situation. If you ever been in a situation where, you know, it's happening fast, stuff kind of slow down. So I'm like, I gotta get myself together. I literally jumped in the driver's seat, put the car in drive, and I start driving in the direction of where he ran to. Now, when I'm driving, I got the windows down. I roll the windows down. I'm literally calling his name out from the car, like Tyree, like yelling his name out. And I'm like, we like, come to the car, come to the car. And so I don't hear no commotion. I don't hear like no rustling. I don't hear him. So I start circling the neighborhood. Our neighborhood had one entrance on one side, another entrance on another side. So I'm literally going out of one entrance into the other one, like circling, yelling his name out. So the last time that I circled, it's a police car parked in the library that was adjacent to our neighborhood. The library was one entrance. You go down a little bit, our neighborhood was the next entrance over. So I see a police car parked in the parking lot of the library. Mind you, we live in Crofton. It's a predominantly white area. It's not too much going on. For the most part, it's quiet, it's peaceful. You know, like some days we leaving our doors unlocked, like getting comfortable. Like it's one of those type of neighborhoods. I start hitting my horn and like getting my lights and like flagging the officer down. He put his lights on and start following me into the neighborhood. So when he follows me into the neighborhood.
When they arrived at her house, she explained in a frenzy her boyfriend had been chased. She had seen someone after him. She had no idea what was happening. In the weeks that followed, suspicions grew. Tyree confided in his family that he was starting to question the people closest to him, even his girlfriend's friend who had been with them that night. The setup felt too precise, too personal. And yet, even with all the unanswered questions, Tyree tried to move forward. Their relationship was complicated, on and off, filled with ups and downs and far from the stable family life Tyree had hoped for. His parents recalled how he often seemed uncertain about where things stood, unsure if he and Autumn were truly broken up or still connected.
You should have to work this out for my child, for you, for all the shit I dragged you through for the last 4 years, you know. I honestly feel as if our next 6 months is going to be so great about our relationship that you will be able to, you will be able to just forget about everything that's happened in the past. I just
really think you would see a greater change. I don't like when you tell me it's no more because I really got faith in this shit. I really do care. I really
listen.
Think that this can work. Don't keep cutting me off. I really do think that this can work. I know we can work it out. I want to do this shit with you without my home, without you being in my home, without you being here. It sucks. It's empty. Yesterday, I was fucking in my room all day. I can't keep doing this shit. I can't keep living like this. I don't want to be with nobody else. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you know. I honestly don't know what to say. I can just tell you I'm sorry because I literally done a lot of shit that's weighed this relationship down. I've done a lot of shit that can make you hate me. I've done a lot of shit that will make you look the other way when I could be saying something right. But I just want you to open your mind up and just to see everything we losing. A house.
So
me being with my child every day. A bunch of shit. Like, I don't want to lose my love with you. I don't want to have to restore all that shit. And then we come back to each other and we work it out. And then we have to do all that again. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to start from baby steps again. I'm just asking you to try, baby. Any sign of me cheating, any sign of me doing anything wrong, you can leave. You can go right out the door.
That's what you don't understand is I don't want to work it out. In order to work it out, no way. Wait, let me finish.
I know you don't want to. I already understand you don't want to work it out, and I know why. Because it takes me this long to try to fucking put it together.
I'm not done
but
talking.
that's not the way I want to go.
You just got me off.
Tyree poured his heart out, admitting he had dragged Autumn through years of pain, but insisting the future could be different. But Autumn pushed back. She tells him bluntly that in order to fix a relationship, both people had to want it, and she didn't. Still, Tyree refused to let it go.
In order to work it out, no way. Wait, let me finish.
I know you don't want to. I already understand you don't want to work it out, and I know why. Because it takes me this long to try to fucking put it together.
I'm not done
but
talking.
that's not the way I want to go.
You just got me off. So can I talk?
Yes.
In order to work something out, both people have to want it.
Yes.
And I don't.
And I'm just asking.
So I'm telling you how this is gonna go.
I just don't think we should be like this, babe. You're trying to run the show, and I just think you should just give me an opportunity to fix it with our relationship. Like, I'm so down on this shit. I'm so mentally broken. I really want to fix my home, bro.
You're so mentally broken.
Babe, I've been through a lot of shit. You've been through a lot too. I'm not knocking that, bro. I'm not knocking that. At the end of the day, you went through shit when it was most trauma and you were having a baby. I was a terrible boyfriend. I was never there. I was absent. I wanted to smoke J's more than worrying about my family and making sure y'all straight. I was worried about getting high, stimulation in my mind and shit like that. I'm not worried about that shit no more. Like, I honestly have a clear head. I honestly think about putting my family ahead. I honestly thinking about still being able to stand. So if emergencies come, if you crash your car, shit happen, I'll be able to put us back on our feet like that. That's my shit. I don't want to lose you, bro. Like, I'm not even gonna think about losing you because that shit is hard for me to endure, bro. Definitely the day before Christmas, like I keep telling you. Never had a Christmas with you, bro. Just wanna try to spend time with you, at least try to enjoy my life with you while I can. I only had one life. We already had a kid. We already started a family. Let's get this shit right while we can, before it's too late.
That's what I'm telling you.
It's not too late, baby, because we're right here talking. It's not too late. We're right here talking. It's not too late. We still live together. It's not too late. It's not too late.
Still here?
What?
Because I work here.
Okay, and I'm asking you to just love me
I feel
again.
bad for Bug that he has to get
I'm just
used to
asking you to love me again,
So,
babe. I'm just
the
asking
part
you to love me again, babe. I'm
is
asking you to,
convenient.
please. I'm just asking you to love me again. I'm just
My
asking
son's
you to.
stuff is here.
I'm just
And
asking you.
until I'm able to...
You're not moving. I don't want you to leave. I don't want you to do all that. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I want you to just see positivity out of this situation.
It's no positivity.
It is positivity. You're making it negative. If I'm telling you, it's still positive.
I
If
just
I'm
bust your
telling you,
head open.
babe,
I
and
just bust your
I'm
eye
fine. I'm still seeing positivity. Okay, I'm still seeing positivity. You're the one who's painting the negative on the situation. Like, you not understanding, you laughing at me, bro.
It's negative.
It's
I
not,
can't
because I'm
paint
right
negative
here.
on negative.
I'm
It's
trying to
already
work this shit
negative.
out. I'm right here trying to work this shit out. I'm right here trying to.
But the past kept resurfacing, and Autumn would make a shocking statement.
You
Fucking-
trying to work this out. And a week
Yes.
ago, you punched me in my face.
And I've done that.
Dragged
And
me
I've
off the
told you
bed.
that. I've done
Got
that.
on
I've
top
done
of me
that.
and choked me.
Babe, but you gotta understand, I'm out of town for 4 days. I'll come back home. And
You come back
everything that
home.
I have is just fucking.
With bitches' numbers in your phone. You're
You
on the
right,
phone with
I
bitches
did.
while I'm in the
You
kitchen.
right.
You're in the living room.
I was not on the phone with no bitch while you was in the kitchen and I was in the living room.
You didn't know
I
I
swear
was
to
in the
God.
kitchen.
I swear to God, I wasn't
heard
on the
it.
phone with no bitch in the living room while you was in the kitchen. I would never do no shit like that.
You
I wouldn't even call no bitch in my house with you right here. That's so disrespectful. You might have thought I was on the phone with a bitch.
You were.
I wasn't.
Okay. Well, besides...
I wasn't on the phone with a bitch. I'm telling you, I wasn't on the phone with a bitch in the living room with you right here. I wouldn't even do no
Okay,
shit
so
like
maybe
that.
I just misheard. But
Maybe you misheard. Like I said, I wouldn't do no shit like that. Like, that's beyond disrespectful. I would be super mad you did some shit like that to me.
Tyree had been hitting her. She reminded him of the physical fights, the cheating, the disrespect. She told him she couldn't keep enduring it. He admitted to the violence, but begged her to see his attempts to change. Despite the instability, one thing never wavered: his devotion to his son Cody. Tyree made it a point to check in, reaching out to Autumn's family whenever he couldn't get through to her, asking if Cody was okay. He worried when communication broke down and tried in every way he could to show up as a father should. But in spite of all that, everything came crashing down one night into a tragedy no one could have expected. In the early hours of that fateful morning of June 13th, 2022, Tyree had entered Autumn's mom's house where Autumn lived, like he had countless times before. He had the code to the door, and by all accounts, he wasn't breaking in, sneaking in, or forcing his way through. He came as someone who still felt connected, who believed he had a right to be there, especially because of his son. But what awaited him inside was more than he bargained for. Accounts differ on exactly what Tyree walked into that night, but one thing was clear. As Tyree gained entrance to the home, he would be met with Autumn having sex with her new man, 22-year-old Terrence Kenneth Yancey, who would end up shooting Tyree multiple times. Terrence fled the scene immediately. Emergency services were called, but unfortunately, Tyree was pronounced dead on the scene. His family later testified that forensic evidence revealed a disturbing truth. Tyree wasn't shot just once in a moment of panic. He was shot 16 times, with many of those bullets striking him in the back. They recalled the horrifying details. His parents, Lindsay and Roger, described the unimaginable pain of seeing crime scene photographs of their son, a bullet to the back of the head, one to his neck, and 14 bullets riddling his back. To them, there was no way to soften the truth. Tyree hadn't simply been killed, he had been slaughtered. The shooter was identified as the man that Autumn had been romantically involved with. At the time, Tyree may not have fully realized the extent of their relationship, believing perhaps that he and his son's mother still had a bond, even if strained. His parents later emphasized that Tyree didn't grow up in a broken home. He wasn't conditioned to accept fractured relationships or shifting loyalties as normal. Instead, he carried with him a hope that, despite difficulties, his family could remain whole. That hope may have blinded him to the danger he was walking into. In the aftermath of the shooting, disturbing details emerged. Tyree's mother revealed that even before 911 was called, she herself had been contacted, receiving the news with panic and disbelief. She recalled the exact moment, 3:32 a.m., a time that now haunts her, a time she says she wakes up to nearly every night since her son's death. When first responders arrived, Tyree's lifeless body lay inside. Outside the house, the scene was filled with confusion and grief. His parents rushed to the location, desperate for answers. At first, they asked what hospital their son had been taken to, only to be told that there was no hospital, that Tyree hadn't made it. The shooter, who would later be referred to by Tyree's parents only as the murderer, did not flee in panic, but acted with disturbing composure. According to testimony, Autumn and her sister made the 911 call, but even in that moment of chaos, she was heard calling for the family dog rather than focusing solely on Tyree's failing body. To Tyree's parents, this indifference was almost as painful as the crime itself.
The 911 tape was revealed. There was a few attempts to try to resuscitate him. The dog, the family dog that lived in the house, was more important than my son's body. Laying dead. She was looking for her dog. Whatever the dog, King, whatever the name was in the 911 tape, it says she's yelling out the door for the dog. My son is laying in the bedroom, dead.
Once investigators identified the shooter, a massive manhunt began. Just 24 hours later, Terrence was captured, hiding in a wooded area in Dunkirk. But as news spread, Tyree's family was left to piece together what had truly happened. Rumors and stories were conflicted and narratives were twisted. Some claimed Tyree had walked into danger knowingly. Others suggested the shooter acted in defense. Autumn also stepped into the spotlight. With speculation swirling that she had set Tyree up for death, she tried to clear her name. People were pointing fingers, questioning her loyalty, her role, and her silence. Autumn fought back through social media. She posted video after video, attempting to rewrite the narrative to show the world her side of the story. But for many, her explanations only deepened the suspicion. And to Tyree's parents, the evidence told the truth. Their son had been mercilessly gunned down in cold blood. And yet, even as they mourned, Tyree's parents were quick to clarify certain misconceptions. They wanted the world to know that despite the circumstances, Tyree was not estranged from them. He loved his family. He was not a man without support or direction. He had lived with integrity and responsibility, even taking his child's mother when she had nowhere else to go, providing her food, shelter, and stability. His parents reminded the public that Tyree had shown compassion when others turned to their backs. For them, the betrayal cut deeper than the bullets. The idea that their son had been killed not by some random stranger, but in the orbit of someone he had once tried to care for and protect. As the investigation continued, and as the trial loomed, Tyree's family would come to learn more unsettling truths. From the very beginning, Tyree's parents believed the crime scene told a story different from what the shooter wanted people to believe. They knew their son hadn't been an intruder, nor a threat deserving of violence that ended his life. And as investigators collected evidence, the truth began to align with what the Richardson family had felt in their hearts. Forensic analysis would reveal a disturbing reality. Tyree had not been shot in a moment of self-defense. Instead, a forensic report indicated that at least part of the shooting happened while the gunman stood over Tyree as he lay in bed or on the ground. To his family, this wasn't just an impulsive act, it was an execution. When the case moved toward trial, Tyree's family was confronted with the grim task of reliving his final moments through the evidence. In the courtroom, they were forced to see the unseeable. Graphic crime scene photos showed their son's body riddled with bullets, a shot to the back of the head, one through the neck, and 14 more tearing into his back. His mother later described this as one of the most unbearable moments of her life, yet she endured it because she wanted the truth to be heard.
Not only seeing our son's body shot up, because in court and trial you see the real life pictures. Not only seeing him laying there with a bullet to the back of his head, with a bullet to his neck, with 14 bullets to his back. Not only did it hurt us to see that, we learned the truth behind the story. And as hard as it was for us to accept the truth.
Meanwhile, across town, something else was unfolding. Prosecutors were preparing for what they knew would be a difficult case. The shooter was claiming he acted in defense of himself and Tyree's child's mother, Autumn. To some jurors, that could sound convincing. But the physical evidence, 16 bullets, many of them fired into Tyree's back, painted a very different picture. But the prosecution also uncovered troubling contradictions. At first, it was claimed that Tyree had been shot the moment he entered the room, catching the couple off guard. But forensic testimony shattered that version, showing that the fatal shots were fired downward at close range, while Tyree was already down. However, the most shocking revelation was yet to come. Before the trial, prosecutors had offered the shooter a plea deal, 3 to 8 years in prison. To Tyree's family, this felt like a slap in the face, but they knew the justice system often sought compromise to avoid long trials. Still, Terrence would surprise them. He turned down the offer, not out of principle, but because he truly believed he had done nothing wrong. In his mind, this was not murder, it was defense. As the trial date approached, however, cracks began to show in his confidence. Just days before jury selection, his attorney reached out to Tyree's family to ask if they would consider the plea deal. For Lindsay and Roger, this was a moment of clarity. If he was willing to reconsider, it was because he feared the truth that would come out in court, and they refused. They wanted the world to hear what had really happened, so the trial proceeded. Inside the courtroom, testimonies clashed. The defense tried to portray Tyree as volatile, as someone who walked into a situation that spiraled out of control. But the forensic evidence told a colder, more calculated story. And when Autumn testified, her words revealed contradictions, shifting narratives, and half-truths that only reinforced the family's belief that Tyree had been lured into a deadly trap. Not only that, Tyree's parents emphasized that their son wasn't some estranged father who showed up uninvited. He was a man who cared deeply about his son, who had lived with and supported the very woman now central to the case. He had provided for her when she had nothing, given her shelter and food, and helped raise their child. For him to be painted as an outsider in his own child's life was yet another cruelty. As detectives pieced together the timeline, a chilling truth emerged. Tyree's death wasn't just the result of a heated moment. It was the violent consequence of betrayal, jealousy, and misjudgment. For Tyree's parents, sitting through testimony after testimony was agonizing. Yet, as Lindsay later said, if the shooter had taken the original plea deal, the truth of what really happened might never have come to light. And so, even as they suffered, they believed God had allowed the trial to unfold for a reason, so that their son's story could be told in full. On July 28, 2023, Terrence Kenneth Yancey was sentenced to 18 years of active incarceration. Because manslaughter is classified as a violent crime, Terrence must serve at least half of his sentence before becoming eligible for parole. The funeral was a devastating reminder of the hole Tyree's death had left behind. Friends carried his casket, family members wept openly, and his child, too young to understand, would grow up without his father.
It's okay. It's Daddy. Yes. Who's that right there? Who's that? That's it's Ty walking. Huh? It's Daddy.
But even in grief, there was love. Tyree's family spoke about him not as a victim defined by his last moments, but as a caring man who had made mistakes, but was working to rebuild his life. They remembered his laughter, his loyalty, and his determination to be present for his son. Because what the Richardsons came to realize was that this wasn't just about one man pulling a trigger. It was about misplaced trust, broken love, and the tragic consequences of betrayal. For them, Tyree's death wasn't just murder. It was a lesson in how dangerous it is to ignore red flags, to underestimate jealousy, and to love someone who doesn't love you back in the same way. For the Richardsons, their mission now is to keep Tyree's story alive, to warn others, to push young people to protect themselves and know their worth, and to remind the world that behind every headline about murder, there is a broken family, a child left behind, and a legacy cut short. In their final words to the public, Tyree's parents left a sobering message. Be careful who you let in your house, because you can love people more than they love you. And perhaps that is Tyree's legacy, a painful reminder that love should never cost you your life.